morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, and welcome to a competitive episode of the Good Leader Podcast. Now, we're kicking off our Pixar Palooza. We have another special Pixar expert on the pod today, Brian Harris.
Thank you so much for allowing me to join you all. I love a good Pixar movie. I love a good Pixar debate.
Well, you're gonna love
Wasn't
this.
he Bathroom Brian?
He was Bathroom Brian.
For some reason, I got
Because the last time,
I don't remember how you got that.
Well, because he went to the bathroom right before we were on the podcast.
Right.
And he stayed in there for about half an hour. And I was like, well, Bathroom Brian, welcome to the show.
Honestly, I knew our team so well, and it was like, I'm here early. No one else is
But
going to
then
get
we were
here
ready.
early.
We were ready and waiting on you.
It took me by surprise.
But I don't. You deserve better than Bathroom Brian. I'll give you that.
Hey,
You
I'll
deserve
accept
better than
whatever
Bathroom Brian.
moniker
Yeah, I'm trying to think of something else.
My favorite. We were at facilitating an event at a high school one time, and my favorite given nickname to Brian by anyone. Brian's up there leading. He's doing a great job. He's up there talking. And if you don't follow us on YouTube, this is a great reason to follow us on YouTube. Check us out if you're just listening to this podcast. Let me. Where can I find us on YouTube? Where can I watch this if I want to see the pictures?
What's it called? Paradigm Shift Leadership.
That's why I beat.
That's what. Jess, I miss you
That's
today.
right.
I wasn't ready.
I miss you, Jess.
Stand by.
All right. Google us up, Paradigm Shift Leadership. You can watch it on YouTube because Brian is up there. You need to see Brian for this to make sense. Good looking man, by the way. Good for you, Brian. You need to thank your mom
I
and
think,
dad.
is it the video? Is it Mustacheless Brian?
Come on now.
Baby.
This is why. Okay, I got to do my storytelling workshop. This is why we need to.
Sorry.
You got to build up.
There's a lot of videos of me on there.
Brian's up there. No, we were at a high school, and Brian's up there talking about leadership, goal setting with these kids, doing some interactive stuff, some great stuff. And this kid, he's about a junior in high school. I'm sitting next to him because I'm going to go up next, but we're being interactive. And he goes, "Hey, what's Mustacha's name up there?" He called him Mustacha. And Brian, for those of you who can't see him, he has a dynamite mustache, and this kid called him Mustacha. And I was like, that is a phenomenal nickname. That is great.
Mustacha Brian.
Mustacha Harris over there. How about that?
Mustacha Harris, even better.
Yeah. So anyway, but welcome to the show, Brian. Today it's a competitive episode because on the last episode we had a little ping pong, Pixar ping pong, because we're doing the Pixar Palooza. We're going to figure out. You're on here today to help us. We've narrowed it. We have 8 suggestions of all of the Pixar movies, but we might have missed one. Now the setup is we are trying to decide over the summer. Inside Out 2 is coming out.
It is
in June. Very excited about that. And in honor of that, we're taking leadership lessons from Pixar movies. And so this isn't your favorite Pixar movie because that's often jaded by when you watched it, how old you were, that sort of thing. And just personality, you know. And personality shapes this opinion also, but maybe not to the same extent. Which Pixar teaches us the greatest leadership lessons? You know those. And so you don't have to answer yet. I'm going to give you the list.
It's a big question.
But now it's turned into a debate on who's more competitive because the last episode
started that debate?
The last episode, Lemuel B. Ange in Pixar Ping Pong.
So good to win. So good to win.
If I'm playing some bets, Lim's not. Lim's
we
low
all.
odds.
Hey,
honestly.
Lemuel, I hope you don't take offense to this. You are great at so many things.
Zero offense.
But when it comes to the trivia games we play on the show,
not good.
You're nobody's first choice. Let's put it that way. All right. And he came out and crushed it.
Nice.
Wow, crushed it.
I dominated.
Absolutely dominated.
He dominated.
Absolutely destroyed on.
It was bad.
It was on fire. It was like name a Pixar movie. He's like Toy Story, Toy Story 2, Toy Story 3.
That's how much he crushed it.
Like the guy is on fire.
He knew 3 movies.
So,
wait, you couldn't name more than 3?
No, I named more, but I kept giving him Toy Story 2, 3, 4. He said all those.
Oh.
Yeah.
I still got him.
Here's the important fact. She named
I do need to say a couple things.
She named less than Lemuel did.
Which is how ping pong
works. But she
works.
refuses to take the loss.
Okay, first of all, there's 2 things I need to say. One,
She's not
because I
competitive.
refuse to take the loss on this one thing does not make me more competitive than Jared Murr. I need our entire team to listen to this and say, oh yeah, Ange.
I don't know,
caught on
Ange.
Jared.
I
I
don't
know,
know.
Ange.
Yeah,
I don't know.
no, Ange is way more competitive
This
than
is a
Jared
big
because
notch
this is
in the
the
competitive
one.
belt.
Because this is the one.
You're really
thing.
setting the competition bar kind of high.
Kind of low.
There's a lot of
I think we're setting it
you're
kind of
really,
low.
You're really defending your competition.
Really low. I'm fine being competitive. Don't get me wrong. Lindsay would say I'm competitive.
Sure.
I'm also, though, not going to be competitive about things I know I'll lose. If Lindsay and I are kickboxing each other, I will get smacked.
You guys kickbox each other?
Well,
For real? Like,
Wow.
is that a thing?
Wow.
That was a specific example.
That was a
It
very
was.
specific.
Well, it's because she knows I always admire. I'm going to get very specific about Lindsay.
Well, you guys,
She's gonna blush when she
Is
hears
like a
this.
black belt in kickboxing or something?
She's very strong.
now I know
And I'm
that.
strong
Well, that's
too,
very. I
but
played basketball
Yes.
against
Her-
Lindsay, and I was like, wow, I do not want
she's
her to
just
post
like-
Shark
me
is
up.
an
The
animal on the
shark.
basketball
Clark the
court.
shark.
Clark
She's
the
just
shark
like a
is an
brick.
animal.
Like if she comes, it's just like
I can
full
imagine.
force.
House.
Wow.
That was
Yep,
awesome,
that's
guys.
Lindsay.
That was pretty
That was awesome.
That
All
was
right,
pretty
bonus
good.
points
That was
all
pretty
around.
solid.
Bonus
Thank you,
points
thank
all
you,
around.
thank you.
I'm not going to fight that. I'm like, I know your legs are going to kill me. I'm not even going to be competitive about it. You will still find a way to get competitive in that and like find your way to maneuver around winning.
No, I'm not
Well,
going to give
Jared's
up. or
gonna make
quit.
like a
I'm not gonna
specific
quit.
game out of this process.
Yeah.
That he knows he's probably gonna have the advantage on the game itself.
Exactly.
And it's gonna give him
you
the
are
advantage.
10 times more competitive than
Well,
me on that.
number one,
Yeah.
thank you for the compliments.
You're welcome.
Number
It's
two,
fine. I will
Yeah,
gladly
call me a
say.
winner.
It shows your
Thank you.
creativity and your
how
calling me a
initiative.
winner?
he's
Thank
already
you.
doing it. He's already
is.
now turning
That's
this
exactly-
all
he's already
around.
starting
to be
to
like,
make a new
well, I
activity out
am
of
more
the
competitive,
conversation.
and I'm going to win this argument because I am more competitive, and I'm going to take that. Thank you. He's such a sucker. Wow.
And he just reels you into it. You know?
I'm just saying.
You just saw it real time, folks.
I'm just saying.
You just saw the Jared Moore effect real time.
I really enjoyed the ping pong that we had last time, and it was fascinating to see Anj and Lim go at it.
There
and
was
then at the
another
end, she
thing I
was
wanted
like,
to say,
I
though.
refuse.
There was another thing I wanted to say because I actually didn't know this till the end when I was hearing what you were saying. I didn't know he said Cars 3. I didn't hear him say that. So I legitimately thought
you were holding on to
we
that, but
both.
thought, okay,
I was
that's
like,
fair.
that's half the reason too. I was like, fine, I'll call it a tie. The whole time I'm thinking he never said Cars 3. We're
Here's
just
the
sitting
thing.
here in
Wow.
this.
It's a great
To be
Anj.
fair, I didn't know that.
Because
Okay,
I'm
okay.
so bad at trivia, even tying is kind of a win for me. I'll admit.
If you want to believe that, that's fine.
Well, that
I'll let you believe that.
that just goes to show Lim is. I mean, if we're ranking competitiveness, Lim is definitely less competitive
For sure.
than the rest of us.
For
I mean,
sure.
he has a much more amicable,
Yeah.
cooperative spirit about him.
Yeah.
Except he gets competitive sometimes, but he's much choosier.
Things
about it.
I'm good at.
Well,
I'll be
yeah,
competitive.
I mean, yeah, but I don't know. Okay, the way y'all are describing that even makes me think of the definition of competitive because that's just like I don't know if you're. Well, yeah, things I'm good at are competitive. Like what you said, I'm like, okay, I will
No,
admit, I
it's
don't know
not
if I
even
would
things
call
I'm
that
good at.
competitive.
It's not even things I'm good at. That's not necessarily true.
Okay, but you're.
But if I don't
things you're
even
saying
think
you have
I
a chance
stand
to
a
win,
chance,
or yeah,
like
that's
if
what I'm saying.
John was
Oh, I
like,
see.
I'm gonna run 13 miles before you, I would be like, you sure are.
Well, I will
Yes,
admit,
you are.
I will admit, if Michael Jordan was standing here and challenged me to a shooting contest, I would say, bring it on. So I will admit,
that's what- that's what I'm
I will
saying.
admit, I will not
You're
disown that.
definitely more competitive.
I will not disown that. I will not disown that. But I don't know if I call that competitiveness. Maybe this is great for
I
another
think the
episode.
parameters
sometime,
set
but-
competition for me too. If it's like if Michael Jordan's like, hey, you want to go shoot around? I'm like, you think you could beat me in a 3-point contest? I'm like, probably not, but I'm gonna try. But if he's like, hey, there is absolutely 0% chance you're ever gonna beat me in a 3-point contest. Let's go shoot. I'm like, yeah, you're right. That's not gonna happen, and I'm not even gonna try. But I think if he's just like, hey, you want to see who can make the most threes? I'm like, yep, let's do it. You're gonna win, but like it's gonna be a fun
Yeah,
competition.
but that's not a
for me.
competition.
See, that's what I would. Brian and I are the same. in
Okay,
that-
that was
But
like
he
holding
literally
hands.
said,
You're basically
His
holding hands and picking
response-
flowers.
But he literally said, do you want to see who can make the most threes? And it's like, absolutely, I want to see that. You're going to win, but I'm down.
This
But if
is
he
how
comes
I-
in
yeah.
like strong headed and he's like, there's absolutely 0% chance you're ever going to beat me in a 3-point contest. Let's go shoot. And I'm like, you're right.
You're right.
I'm not going to do
Yes. This is how I know you and I are less competitive than Jared because he will make anything a competition.
Yeah.
Anything.
that. Yeah.
Which is great. That's why you're a great salesperson.
Well, thank you. That's why so far I've been the best one on the podcast. All right, so
See how he does that?
who's winning today? Jared and Lemuel. All right. Speaking of competition, we're going to do a great competition right here. It's Pixar quote edition. All right. So it's you three. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to give you a quote from a Pixar movie, and you get to tell me what movie that is.
okay.
Okay.
That's a good one.
I thought I was going
All
to
right,
name
that's
quotes.
good.
I was
This is
like,
good.
No, I'm
Jared.
going to give you a quote from the movie.
Okay.
And then you give me what movie it is.
Okay.
Now I'm going to give you a choice. We can either do this buzzer style, where if I give it, and then you're like, yep, and then you get to answer, or we can go round robin, where I
go round
ask you.
robin.
If you miss it, it goes to the like spelling bee
Round
style.
robin.
Spelling
Round
bee style.
robin,
Round
round
robin.
robin.
All right, here we go.
Round robin, really?
Round robin.
Round robin. Okay, that way I will say some of you are going to get easier quotes than
Yeah,
others.
that's where
Because
I was
can't
thinking,
control.
too.
I
Sure.
can't control.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Competitive.
Sure.
I was going to say I can't control.
Wow,
like,
that's
like,
feeling not fair, but okay.
Because,
Like, you're going to get the
Thank
first
you.
question. I'll get the second question. Lim will get the third.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But thank you for setting me up for failure because immediately, no matter what the quote is,
Yep.
I can tell you whatever
I will.
quote
I'm gonna be
Brian
mad
gets
about
second.
it.
I'm just
Yeah.
gonna go, oh,
I will.
Oh, you give Brian the easy
I'm
quote.
freely saying that right now. That
Which I
automatically
am.
feels unfair.
Yep, it does. I knew she was going to say that, folks. All right.
But they picked it, so I will.
All right, here we go. We're going to start off
comply.
with a tough one. Anj, a great artist can come from anywhere. What Pixar movie? A great artist can come from anywhere. I'm starting with a tough one. Starting
have
with a tough
no
one.
idea.
All right, Brian, a
yeah.
great artist can come from anywhere.
Toy Story 2.
Nope. All right. Lemuel, a great artist can come from anywhere.
Ratatouille.
Correct. Oh, Ratatouille.
Lim.
Nice job. 1 point for
Wow.
Lim.
Wow. Okay.
Lim's
Wow.
celebrations are the
Wow.
best.
Yeah.
All right. He got a question
I
right.
hope we're recording
this is
this.
why you got to be watching on YouTube. All right, here we go. Number 2, Anj. To infinity and beyond.
Toy Story.
Correct.
Nice.
Point. All right, Brian. Just keep swimming.
Finding Nemo.
Correct. All right, so it's 1 to 1 to 1. All right, here we go. Lemuel. Our fate lives within us. Our fate lives within us.
Toy Story 2.
Incorrect. I'm sorry. Andrea, our fate lives within us.
Bug's Life.
Nope. Good guesses. These are you're guessing Pixar movies, so great guesses. Brian, our fate lives within us.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and go Doc Hudson from Cars.
You know what? Bonus points. I'll give you a ghost point for
Okay,
giving me
I'll
Doc
take a ghost
Hudson.
point.
But incorrect.
Dang it.
All right, here we go. I'm going to give you more of the same quote.
Wait, are you going to tell us? Oh,
I'm going to give you more of the
Oh,
same. I'm going to
okay.
give you the extended version now,
Okay.
which makes it easier.
That's fun.
Lim, our fate lives within us. You only have to be brave enough to see it. Our fate lives within us.
Wall-E.
Nope, I'm sorry.
Brave.
Brave is correct. If you didn't get that, I was going to give you my Scottish accent on round 3.
Dang it, Anj, why'd you get it? Should have missed it on purpose.
All right, here we go. All right, who we got? Anj got that one right.
Yeah,
so you're in the
it's
lead.
Brian.
2 to 1 to 1, I think. All right, here we go. I've just got a few more. Brian, you and I are a team. There's nothing more important than our friendship. You and I are a team. There's nothing more important than our friendship.
Soul.
Great guess. Incorrect. Lim,
Really bad at this. Wow.
I don't know.
you and I are a team. There is nothing more important than our friendship.
Monsters, Inc.
Correct.
That was going to be my guess.
Monsters
Wild
Inc.
guess.
Dang.
I was
That
like a-
boy is on fire.
Wow.
We got
Lim
okay.
killing
Then
it.
we have got to expand
This is
the soundboard
incredible.
because you need more.
I know,
like
I
right
know.
there, you could. Man,
That was
you
a
could
good
be
ham
killing
horn
it.
moment.
That was a ham horn moment. That was a okay. So
Yeah.
it's 2 to 2 to 1. I think I only have like 3 more left. All right, here we go.
No.
I don't want to survive. I want to live. I don't want to survive. I want to live.
Man, I don't know.
I've only got 2 more. So this one and another one's all I got. So
Bug's
it's coming
Life.
down to the one. Nope, sorry. I don't want to survive. I want to live. I will say, once you know the movie, it's going to make more sense.
Make a lot of sense.
Making a lot of sense once I know the
True
answer.
for all of these.
Yeah, true for all of this. Well, but something like the Brave quote,
Yeah.
you get it from the quote.
Yeah,
like Brave
yeah.
is in the quote. So
Yeah.
that's a big hint. This
Yeah.
one, it's like, oh,
I'm gonna go The Incredibles.
incorrect.
That was going to be my other guess.
I don't, incorrect. I don't want to survive. I want to live. All right, so I'm going to give you one more quote from the movie because I don't know a lot of quotes from this movie, but I'm going to give you one quick one, and this
Okay.
because it's going to be buzz in. Okay?
All right.
See what I'm
all
saying?
right.
So everybody's free
buzz.
because this is an
Okay.
obvious one. Eva. Brian.
Wall-E.
Wall-E is correct. So the captain says, I don't want to survive, I want to live. At the end of the movie, when he finds out, like, all this stuff, I don't want to
God,
survive,
I
I
would
want
not
to
have
live.
guessed. Yeah.
All right, here we go. I think we are. Oh, who's
I think we're
that?
tied.
2-2-2.
I think it's 2-2-2. I've got one more quote. We'll see who it is. But who gets to go first on this one? I can't remember.
I think we need to
I think
buzz
it's
in.
technically me because
Well, then we'll buzz in. Let's do a buzz
Yeah,
in. It's
let's buzz
2-2-2.
in.
Buzz in.
Alright.
Here we
Buzz
go.
in.
I have just met you and I love you. Yes.
Up.
Up is correct.
Wow.
pretty good, man.
Was
Lemuel,
that
it's
Russell?
on fire.
Wow,
What's
was that Russell?
It's Doug. It's the dog. I have just met you and I love you.
Wow.
I
Dang.
didn't. I wouldn't have guessed it.
Nice.
Wow.
Lemuel. I'm fire. Look at him go.
All right, Brian, you're here today, not just for Pixar quote trivia. Lemuel, that's 2 in a row.
That's impressive.
This guy.
It must not be a fluke.
This guy. Wow. It reminds me of like.
Oh, the
Big
first
day
one was
for
a fluke.
Lim.
This
Big
reminds-
day
the
for
first
Lim.
But this one was not.
Nice job, Anj. Way to catch him on it. All right. Yeah. That is a non-competitive soul over there.
Hey, I never said that. I'm competitive.
No, I'm talking about Lemuel.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it's not a fluke. You're effing right. It's not a fluke. not Michael Jordan. All right. We have 8 names here. Okay, Brian. But your job is to help us finalize these. Tell us if we missed one.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
Now, the reason I brought you on is because it is well documented in Paradigm Shift history that your all-time favorite Pixar movie is
Cars 3.
Cars 3.
Without a doubt.
Yes.
Without a doubt. Did it make the list?
Yes.
It made the top
That's
8?
why I invited you on.
Wow,
Yes.
Brian
is
and I have
amazing.
We're kindred spirits.
Yes.
That is phenomenal.
Because-
Did you say Cars 3?
I did.
What an incredible pick.
Well,
I'm feeling good about it.
Debatable.
I'm feeling good about it.
It's pretty
Phenomenal
Better
pick.
than Soul, right?
Well, I'm here.
absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Not even debatable.
Thank you.
Did Soul make the list
It
too?
did- well, not-
wow. Okay.
not to
all right.
mine.
Wow.
You dang right it did.
Okay.
It's
all
on the
right.
list right
Okay.
now, the
All
same
right.
as
Okay.
Cars 3.
Okay. All right.
The same as Cars.
Wow.
This
is purely off, like, leadership
we need a
lessons, right?
female character. Am I right, Lim? Let's make Cars 3. Lim knows what I'm
Wow,
talking
shots
about.
fired, first of all. And also, the question was not, hey, let's find the best reason for why we made a movie. It was, where's the best leadership lesson?
Leadership lessons. Yeah. Wow.
Leadership lesson,
Yeah.
Brian.
Cars 3
You know,
is still a great
we
pick.
don't have enough female leads.
females
Well,
are
let's give him a car. We're not actually going to give him an actual woman, but, we can give it a car.
That feels right. Pixar, better get your super game up.
That's hilarious.
Okay, Cars 3. Here's our list.
Okay. All right,
My
I'm ready.
question to you is: this is our 8 finalists
Okay.
for the best leadership lesson. Okay, so it's not best movie, it's not favorite movie.
Sure.
It's best leadership lessons, and we came up with good leadership lessons, even the ones we disagree with. Like I don't know that I picked Cars 3, but I just made a good case for Cars 3. It's about succession planning and leadership, transfer of leadership. I
Humility.
really like that. Yeah. Okay. She
Brian
did not,
and I are
she
gonna-
did not say
Oh,
humility.
I said I could have kept going. You told me to save it.
Tell me she's not more competitive than me.
Not more.
I'm giving her a compliment.
Not more.
And she's
like,
still fighting.
You were not giving me a compliment. I did. You were not giving me a
I
compliment.
did. I said,
Whoa.
Ange made a great case. She said this. She said this. You threw in humility. I said, and I said, she did not say humility. That's a great
No,
addition.
you said, you didn't. You turned it into a competition. You didn't say that.
Turn it
on. Well,
competition. I will
Brian
say,
got you there.
I will say, I'm on Soul Island by myself.
You are.
I am. I'm on Soul Island by myself, so it might not make the final 8. But here's the list.
Okay. I'm
Soul,
ready.
Cars 3,
Okay.
Finding Nemo, A Bug's Life, Onward, Toy Story 3, Monsters Inc., Inside Out. Is there one of those that you would like? We got to get rid of that one. Or really the question is there another Pixar movie that we're really missing? Like I threw out Brave, maybe just in consideration for fate versus destiny, or fate versus your own willpower and those sorts of things. Or
Yeah.
what do you got?
We didn't.
Oh, go
wait,
ahead.
this might be Disney. Is Frozen Pixar?
This is Disney.
No, it's Disney.
Damn. I did catch myself.
We'll do a
But I
Disney
thought of a
bracket one of these
great- I
days
thought
because
of a great-
you are really on fire with
Man.
Raya the Last Dragon, Frozen, Zootopia.
Zootopia.
She's got a lot of Disney.
I was ready to give the
You
leadership
are.
lesson for all 3.
Wow.
incredible.
What's your Frozen leadership lesson?
Frozen?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I think it's so deep.
Let me hear it.
You've watched it, girls.
watched
Well, one
all
or
of
two.
these.
Yeah, well,
I'm
one
a
or two.
nerd with this stuff.
I know you'd watch it anyway, even if you
Yeah.
didn't.
I watched it on an airplane by myself. It was good.
About not isolating yourself.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's good. That's good.
I know it's a great leadership lesson. It's not
It
Pixar
is.
though, so I
no,
left it.
No, we can't.
But
have
I
that
can't.
on
I'm not going to go deeper into it. I'm wasting time.
All right,
So.
okay.
Wow, that was good. Wow. Well, first of all, incredible list. Onward was an interesting
Incredibles didn't
take for
make
me. I know. Really sad about that one. But I mean, if we're looking at leadership lessons, you could pull some out easy if
Yeah,
you're looking into it.
that's the
but
thing. This is a tough
If
list.
you're
You can
looking
pull it out.
into
But
it.
give me your it's a shame that this is not on there because that's the whole question.
Honestly, I'm surprised Monsters Inc. made it before Monsters University made it.
We talked about that's fair.
I was like, man, I think Monsters University.
I think Monsters University is especially if we're just looking at pure leadership lessons.
Yeah.
I think Monsters University is a phenomenal movie for multiple different topics within that. I mean, you're looking at, mobilizing others. So you're looking at Sully, or well, technically Mike steps into the fraternity first, I guess. Sully comes in because he didn't get into Roar Omega Roar.
Nice. Wow,
Yeah, I love
Brian
Monsters
on
University.
fire here
Monsters University is a great movie.
Deep cuts.
It is. It's a great movie.
Okay.
But I mean, you're looking at, they step into this completely unorganized, dysfunctional group of ragtags and they go and win the whole competition, right? So you got a lot of different
That's
things
pretty
there,
good. I wasn't even thinking of that.
I've got
angle.
more, don't
we
worry.
were talking about
I've got more.
We were talking about the Mike Wazowski progression, even in Monsters University.
fair,
It's his
yeah.
own character arc.
Well, but then
he made his strengths stronger.
That's another big thing is like looking at and resetting your goals. So Mike came in with these big goals of being a scarer and being like the scariest monster that's ever exists. And then once he gets to the university and starts going through everything, he realizes that may not actually be where my skill set is and where my strengths lie.
Yeah.
Maybe I should remobilize these goals a little bit. Look at these goals.
Well,
a little
and he
differently
still ends
reset
up
them.
working for
He does.
Monsters Inc.
He does.
Like
Absolutely.
he's there.
Yeah.
He's just not
Not
the
in the
role
capacity
not the capacity he originally thought.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of like me and my basketball journey. You know,
Yeah.
kind of very similar. Very similar arc.
Super similar.
Okay. All right. Okay. Anything else? We're throwing out some good ones that I like that I think we missed is honestly Ratatouille. I
was going to bring that up.
I'm like, man, it's
Really?
I don't know. I don't know why.
I just
You have
rewatched
the
Ratatouille.
one who talks with her hands
not a
is
fan.
right in front of
But
me.
from leadership lessons, like
Let other people control you and take all the credit for it? Is that the lesson we're going to pull out of this? Let people with other strengths control you to manipulate you into doing what
That
they do
is
best
super
so you
fair.
can try and mimic that.
all right, okay, we won't do Ratatouille.
Thank you.
Well, once you hear that, you can't unhear
Man,
it.
once we, man, that's why we saved Brian for the second episode of this. Jeez, golly, who knew? You know, Kyle would be the happy-go-lucky one. Golly,
I was trying to figure out if there's an argument for The Incredibles, though.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love The Incredibles, but
Leadership. I know. I was like, well, leadership lesson could be
yeah.
a stretch.
well, there's a lot of teamwork. There's a lot of
Well,
teamwork.
that was what I was thinking.
I mean, I would say the biggest
Believing in
thing.
your team.
It comes down to teamwork. I would say, oh well, if we want to really go deep, you could pick each one of these. I think if you're Frozen. That's a lot of isolationism. He was living a secret life, and it really was just called. I mean, in the end, living the secret life is what got his family in trouble.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
That's a deep leadership lesson. right there.
I know. I'm saying, but that's the thing.
Add
Is
it to the
he's
list.
like, I'm
there's
not
definitely plenty
fulfilled
there.
over. I'm not fulfilled over here. I've got it's escapism. You know,
Hope-
like, well, that's you
Hope
know.
you're adding that to the list.
I mean-
That's a good one.
Well, I don't know if it's.
Oh,
we
right.
gotta-
We would have to take
is a
one
good
off.
one.
Yeah,
We have
yeah,
to take
yeah.
one
True.
off.
I didn't think
Yeah.
about it.
I'm saying we're just narrowing down to 8. We don't want to have.
Well,
a
I'm really
seven-
liking The Incredibles now.
We don't want to have a
So-
23-week tournament. So we
What
gotta-
do we- what do
I
we
say
gotta-
We've been there, had
This
that.
is kind of the tournament. I mean, we
Yeah.
can
I
table
would
it for one
make-
more week
I
and
would
do our
make
research.
an argument that The Incredibles could beat Soul.
Oh my gosh, you are
I'm
ticking
just
me off.
making
Man.
If we're gonna make arguments, fine.
lesson wise.
We're
That's
gonna
a
make-
great. Do you know how many all of us as
could-
leaders need the lesson
I could
of
theoretically,
escapism?
I could theoretically make my same Soul argument with Incredibles. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because my
Absolutely.
big fight for Soul is the everyday life is life. Like you're searching for this other stuff,
Well, I
much like
think-
Mr. Incredible was.
Yeah.
And even if it's good stuff, fine stuff. It's like, yeah, but you're missing out on so much right here.
Well, that's
Yeah.
right.
I can make the same argument.
Yeah,
with
I did think of The
Yeah.
Incredibles when you said it.
Honestly, if
Yeah.
we're looking at like a family style movie that is portraying really solid leadership lessons, I think Coco's better than The Incredibles. Coco's fantastic.
Now, I love
And,
Coco as a movie.
It is a great
I
movie.
love it
But
as a
I mean,
movie.
even just looking at leadership lessons and like life lessons within
Like
your
what?
family.
30 seconds. Make the point. Make the case.
Mr. Incredible is Coco is basically the opposite of Mr. Incredible. Coco has this entire dream that he's wanting to live out outside of his family, without his family support, and obviously his family is very against it. So it's a little bit different in that aspect. Obviously, they know what he's doing because he gets caught. But then he even goes in and starts learning from his ancestors. So learning from the past, what the past actually means, not what the past is perceived as within his current present with his family. So what his family's looking at as the past is this terrible thing that happened to the grandma, but it's not actually the factual pieces of what happened. It's just what they have thought has happened throughout history. And he comes back learning all of that, able to make a pitch for it, and turns his family at the end and starts leaning back into that musical world and musical piece of his family. So
That's
Brian,
good.
I heard a big summary.
I'm not convinced.
But what
I'm not
was the
convinced at all.
lesson?
I'm not convinced at all. I think the overall
It
what
was
I
a
heard.
summary.
I mean, leadership lesson,
What-
not letting the perception of the past define your current
Okay.
reality.
Well, that's what you should have said.
Yeah, that's
in your
what-
30
that's what-
seconds.
I was
Where
like,
was
wait,
that?
I'm
Where
looking
was that?
for-
Sorry, I expected the room to be able to take that out of what I was saying, but
Well,
I
Unvoiced-
defined it now.
yeah, you did a
unvoiced
good job. Round 2
expectations going
way
meta.
better.
Sorry.
Round 2 was way
There you
better than
go.
round 1.
There you go.
Round 2 was way better than round 1. When you were
I was
talking
also
about round
giving
1,
a description
I was like,
for the
wow, I
viewers.
think I think the whole Pixar, the underlying message of Pixar is your dreams will kill you. That's what I think. You know, like whatever your dream is, it's probably going to mess you up. So
That's hilarious.
I would agree
going
with
through
that.
all of these, it's
That's
like,
hilarious.
oh, that dream's really going to screw you up. You need to readapt. That one's going to get you, trapped by a fisherman, a dentist. That dream is going to send you to the
Wow, that
underworld.
is a really good point.
Okay, that dream,
Yeah.
that dream is going to get your family kidnapped. Okay, so
Trying to make resilient kids, you know?
redefine your dreams, kids.
Get them resilient.
Do not dream too big.
Whatever you think first, wrong.
Yeah, wait, no, do not do
Way
that.
off. Don't
Do
do that
not do
thing.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? Honestly, I don't even know where we're going to go with this. I don't even know what to do because Brian's bringing up some great points. Should we replace any of these?
We
What are
could
gonna do?
replace Coco with Onward and Incredibles with Soul.
I'm okay. You know what? We can go.
Onward in there,
We can go Incredibles over Soul. I'm okay with that. I'll back.
I mean,
off
I
that
like
train.
Onward
I'm okay
too,
with that.
don't get
I'll
me
back off
wrong.
that train. I wanted to replace Monsters Inc. with Monsters University. Brian had
Oh,
me
sure.
convinced.
Yes.
Done.
Yeah.
Boom. Okay.
That's good.
That's good. Okay. So Incredibles are in. So now we're at Finding Nemo, A Bug's Life, Cars 3.
Incredible pick.
Meh.
Gonna win.
We could put Coco in over Cars 3 if we want to.
Absolutely
You
not.
convinced me. Your whole past.
Dang it.
Don't let your past.
No,
Jared's
it
trying to make me
future-
convince
No, it
myself
didn't.
as
Yeah,
well.
No, that
he's
was
trying
really
to
good.
sway you.
Okay, convince me with Cars 3 in the same way. 30 seconds. Cars 3 over Coco.
That's way too fast. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to convince you because
You had it for Coco.
but you're
You
also
killed
convincing
it with
me
Coco.
to put Coco in over Cars 3.
It
And
was
I love
awesome.
Cars 3.
Coco
But it's also
over
very
Cars
different.
3?
It's very different lessons.
I
though.
was about to say,
it's
that
very
is
different
such a
lessons.
different lesson.
They're very
I
different
didn't
lessons.
say they were different lessons. I'm just saying one should be in and one shouldn't.
No, I think
And I'm
both
asking
should.
Brian which one.
No, I think both should. I would.
Finding Nemo, A Bug's Life, Cars 3, Incredibles, Monsters University, Onward, Toy Story 3, Inside Out.
I would like. Oh, I would put Coco in over Inside Out then almost.
Okay, Coco's in over Inside Out. There, cool.
If we like the lesson,
There we go.
Okay. Well,
don't. I
There we
mean,
go.
Inside
Done.
Out
That's
is
the list.
known,
Brian,
but-
thank you very much. I appreciate that. Appreciate your help. That's the list.
I appreciate you asking for my contributions.
We'll see what happens. And you killed it. You did a great job. You got Coco in. You got Coco in over
take it.
Inside Out.
And Monsters
We're
University.
even watching Inside Out 2 coming up in June. So after the break, we're going to come back and we're going to hit very quickly culture creation, all the stuff that we're doing as we have such a fun time with Pixar Palooza right after the break.
In case you all were curious, coming up in June, Jared Murray has mentioned it a few times, but just wanted to give another pitch here for the Pixar movie Inside Out 2. Riley coming into her own growth, maturity. What does that look like while she's dealing and handling all of the emotions that come along with that?
Thank you very much. This episode is sponsored by Disney and Pixar.
Forget
Ladies and
about the
gentlemen,
store.
Thank you very
Forget
much.
about our workshops.
Thank you very much.
It really caught me off guard on the commercial there.
My favorite part. I've never heard Brian go.
I
don't-
thought he was
often,
gonna.
so
I thought he was gonna talk about the tribal youth
That's
summit.
I did too.
Over which,
That's what I thought too.
You put me on the
which
spot.
he
all
is
right?
the lead.
You put me on the
he
spot.
is
I
the
got
lead
nervous.
on that entire project, and it's
Nervous.
phenomenal.
Mustachio came out, and I got nervous. I had to think on my
we
feet
are
real quick.
hosting a tribal youth summit
in June.
in
ironically.
June.
It is
That's
in
where I thought
June.
you were going, and then
It is in June.
nope. This is not sponsored
It's
by Paradigm
absolutely where
Shift.
I
This
should have
episode
went, but
sponsored by Pixar.
The nerves,
All right.
the nerves beat me.
Let him get
Thank
Pixar
you,
on
Brian.
here.
Thank you, Brian. Hey, we have a culture here at the Good Leader Podcast of honesty, openness, and Brian just ready to go and threw at the commercial, and that's what we do here. With that, we wanted to talk about culture because this entire Pixar idea, I mean, I can kind of nerd out on it, but I really like this idea of culture. And one thing that when we do a leadership workshop with organizations about culture, we'd like to start by asking them to define some of the cultures of which we are a part, which are many. One thing that we underestimate is how many cultures we're actually in. I mean, for most of us, we're in dozens and dozens of cultures. If we think about our family cultures, our spirituality or religion, we think about our fandom. Do you like sports? Do you like sci-fi? Do you like music? All of those things. If you're a fan of something, you're a part of that culture or subculture. And just your lifestyle. Like for me, I'm a parent, and so I've got parenting culture. I'm a sports dad. I am a homeschooling parent. All these different things. And so you're a part of all of these. And then we ask this question, and I'm going to ask you two the question to help frame us here. What is a culture or subculture of which you're a part of that is one of your favorites? Like I love being in this culture. And we asked this of our team not too long ago, and it's a really great way to connect with people. We're always talking about, getting to know people. And if you're out there and you are a leader in any sort and you're looking for ways to jazz up your meetings or help people connect, this is a great question. Ask them to rank their top 3 cultures of which they are a part that they enjoy being a part of. In other words, it's just fun. It's not like they're saying they're fit. Because I'm going to say my family. I'm going to do these obligatory.
Yeah.
No. That's not that. It's not like your top culture. It's, I love that I'm a part of this. It's fun. I like talking about it. And it's just a great way to ask people something different than tell me about yourself. But it tells you a lot about them. Like one of mine, for example, would be Pixar. That's why we're shaping this whole thing. It's nerdy. I like it. It's fun. Another one of mine is the Oklahoma City Thunder. Fun things that we're talking about. So, Anj, you got one? Let the audience know you a little bit.
I do.
What's
I have
yours?
a couple.
Let me
You
hear 'em.
sharing one. Football.
Oh.
And I should say NFL. NFL,
Okay.
football.
Well, see, that's good. And that's the thing about culture. Football would be a part,
More
but also
clear
more specifically NFL.
Yeah.
Even more specifically, New York Giants.
Unfortunately.
I mean, you're a Giants fan.
I am a Giants fan. I really want to be a 49ers
But
fan.
the way you answered actually is on par for
I
the
know.
culture. So good job. Like that's exactly on brand for that culture.
It's very,
You know?
it's hard.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, it's hard for us out here. Yes, and then I would do.
Oh, yeah. You lost Saquon Barkley this year. You don't even have
yeah,
Barkley now.
I mean, it's just like,
Did he go to the Eagles?
are we still a team?
He went to the Eagles. That's even
He went
worse.
to the Eagles. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. That's disgusting.
Oh, I know.
That's bad.
Yeah, the Eagles. Yeah, they're
That's
going to
bad.
be.
Well, I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, so we're all in the same
I know.
division.
Yeah,
That's
we're.
rough.
Yeah,
That's
the
gonna be rough.
Eagles are really.
Okay, anyway, there you go.
Yeah.
What else? You said football, NFL.
Boxing culture.
So you really are kickboxing Lindsay on your downtime?
Where I don't.
Is that happening? Like,
Lindsay is a better kickboxer. I don't kickbox.
But you guys go to the gym? Like you have a kickboxing gym? Is this like, I'm picturing
yeah.
like Rocky. Like I'm watching like
Yeah.
like the gym in Rocky. Like is it like a boxing gym? Like
we don't go
you
in
got
the
the
ring.
speed bags, you got the ring there in the
We
middle.
do have a
you got-
speed bag. We do have. There is a ring there. We normally use the bags.
Yeah.
If you go to the sparring nights, then you're in the ring.
Wow. Like Fight Club.
it
You Go
is.
to the sparring nights.
It really is,
Hey, it's
yeah.
your first night here. You gotta fight.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
if you go to the sparring nights. I have to say I don't go to those. I thought about going to watch the last one, but it was just beginners, so they probably would have made me do it. So
Okay.
I didn't go. Carmel does too, actually. Me, Lindsay, and Carmel
Wow.
all go to the same boxing
Okay.
gym.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I used to go at 5:30 in the morning, and then they got rid of their fight. Now it's a 7 a.m. class, and I was like,
can't
I
do that.
can't.
Can't do
So
that.
stupid.
That
So,
stinks.
Anyway, I do. I really, really like boxing. Been doing it for a little while now.
That's cool.
Yep. And then, culture of Italians.
Oh, there you
Italian.
go. Yeah, absolutely.
Northeast, whatever. But those are different. So I'll stick with one. Italian.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
Let me, how about you? You got any cultures you're a part of?
Yeah, I got a few. I dabble.
Okay.
I like running culture.
Okay.
Just talking with people about,
Are you running that
pacing.
marathon or no?
So you want to hear the real story?
Yeah, we'd love to.
I'd love to. We need
would
an
love
update
to
on
know
this
the real
SMART goal.
story.
So last time we talked about it, I was fully planning to do this
Ish.
marathon.
Were you?
Fully-ish.
Fully. I was fully.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if it was attainable. That was my question.
Okay.
I don't think I identified that when we talked about it.
Right.
But I
It's not.
Yeah. Well,
Turns out.
I slightly injured my foot, so I had to pause.
Hmm.
I am continuing my training, but not that soon.
Okay. So you're kind of like the Cars 2 of marathon runners.
I guess. I haven't seen it, but
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Well, that's good. Running is one. How about
Okay.
any other subcultures you like there?
Man,
That you love that you're a part of this,
Yeah,
talking
part
about
of my
it?
church. I like basketball.
Okay. These are great answers. Great
Yeah,
answers.
all that stuff.
The reason we're asking this is because I think sometimes when we talk about workplace culture is that we get too hung up on some of the not idolatries,
Ideals.
ideologies and ideals of culture. And so we immediately go to like healthy cultures, core values, things like that, which are important. And I think that they can be a part of the conversation. But I think that you should start. And I'm encouraging you, if you want to really diagnose your culture, I'm going to give you 3 things here to think about as a way to almost diagnose your culture. One of my favorite quotes recently is by Max Dupree, and it's the first job of any leader is to define reality. The last job of any leader is to say thank you. And in between, the leader's job is to serve. And so I think as leaders, sometimes we get the cart before the horse in this culture conversation, and we can get really fired up, especially if you're a reader, if you're a learner, you listen to a podcast, you go to a conference, and you come all back and you're like, oh, we're going to change this culture. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. It's like, okay, well, slow down for just a second. Define reality first. And in defining reality, often what you'll find is you may be overlooking some of the good stuff right now. Like, hey, there's some pretty good stuff in your cultural mix or that people enjoy exist. And then taking it even a step further is just thinking about what is culture. We're all a part of these cultures. And then you can diagnose, oh, yeah, so people enjoy being a fan of this sports team. And so that changes how they talk about it. That changes what they know. That changes what they seek out. That changes how they learn. Those types of questions then reverse engineer it and go, oh, okay, so what is our culture? Not so much, we are integrity and we are compassion and those things are often too big. You know what I'm saying? Like that's too big for us to, when I say like, oh, what's it like to be a New York Giants fan? It's like, right now, it's pretty rough. That's the honest answer. What's it like to be a Cowboys fan right now? Oh gosh, hopeless at the moment.
Scared to get your hopes
But that's
up.
not the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? That's not what the culture is. Okay, actually, the culture of a sports team is often like really high loyalty, things like that. But we can't jump to there. You have to be more real world. And so to be more real world, I'm going to give you 3 things here that is a good, almost like diagnostic tool. You could do this with your group. If you really, you're like, we need some sort of culture instigation. We need someone to come in and help us with this. I mean, by all means, check out Paradigm Shift. We kind of do this for a living, and it helps us keep the lights on. So you can check out Paradigm Shift, www.ps.company, if you want someone to facilitate this in its length. If you want the shorthand version, here's what you do. You can ask your team to describe the culture now and describe the culture, a desired culture. What are some of the things they want to see? And that gets you a starting point of just what are people's immediate reactions to it. Then more specifically, here are the 3 categories. You can ask yourself, and ask your team, what are our culture makers, our culture breakers, and our culture anchors? Now, those things very quickly. A culture maker are things that on people's minds would say, this helps us build the type of culture that we want. So these are often things that they can be ideas or they can be tangible things, but often it's ideas. It's things like, we have a culture of, and that's another way to help them. Like our culture makers, we have a culture of what? We have a culture of celebration. That's good. We celebrate people. We celebrate milestones. That's great. They might say we have a culture of flexibility where we really work with people's schedules. And I'm giving some of the answers for Paradigm Shift because we went through this exercise recently. We have a culture of, what was something else, Anj, that was on that list that some people said that we could give as an example here? Culture makers. We have flexibility. We had celebration on the list. What else do we have on that list?
Collaboration.
Oh, collaboration. Absolutely. We have a culture of high collaboration. Excellent. Anything else? We had one thing that was tied to flexibility, and so this is where it can be an idea, flexibility. We have unlimited PTO, and we're very flexible with people's PTO, so that was an example that people had. That's a real culture maker.
Yep.
Another way to think about it would be things that, either tangible or intangible, lead to the type of culture we enjoy or like. Culture breakers, then, are the opposite, and it's often... I will give this warning, and I know that this is not an entire workshop, but when you're having these kind of conversations, really encourage your team to think of things that exist, not potential breakers. You want to identify. It's important.
Yeah.
It's helpful to have both. But sometimes people just say, well, this could go wrong. This could go wrong. That would be a culture breaker. That would be a culture breaker. It's important to think of those things almost as like warning signs. But it's like, so a culture breaker, I define as things that are happening right now that are consistently negatively impacting our culture.
Yeah.
Things that are consistently happening that are negatively impacting our culture or the culture we want to create. Those are culture breakers. And then the last one, as we close here, are culture anchors. Now, these are, some could say, oh, well, isn't that the same thing as a culture maker? A little bit. I'll define it a little more. Culture makers, I say, are broader. They can be ideas. Culture anchors are almost more tangible. These are the more tangible things that if you think of, if we removed that, it would really shake our core principles, or it would shake our core almost like personality of our organization. And so this could be something like your core values. That was one thing that was listed for us. So that's tangible, though. We can say we have them on a list. We have them here. They're ideas, but you can list them specifically. Also, we do an annual retreat, and the annual retreat was listed. This might be something for you, like a certain time of year, like the way that we celebrate this thing, our Christmas party, for example, or our cultural anchor of, every year our directors, our bosses, our leaders go out of their way to appreciate us in this moment. Oh, that's so important. We love that thing. Those would be culture anchors. They're almost like the things that embody the culture makers.
Yeah, I almost think of anchors as the tangible, repetitive outcomes that you create out of your culture makers. So I think if they're an anchor, they repeat themselves.
Yes. That's why I like them being tangible.
Yes, I think they're tangible.
Yep.
And I really think they are, again, an outcome of the core to what you see as those makers. So another one we listed as anchors were our core values.
Yes.
Well, our core values really come out of what we know we want, what our culture is made out of as well. So I think I see it being a little bit like, okay, we have our culture maker is flexibility. Well, I would almost argue our anchor then is PTO.
Yeah, I agree. And I would say, and this may just be you and I, this just may be semantics, but I actually think of exactly what you said on the tangibility and this almost like cause and effect relationship, but I would flip it. I think the anchors are the tangible, almost like embodiment or that the culture maker comes out of it. Like you said, I like the PTO example.
It's like a button to push.
It is. It's like it's like flexibility.
Yeah.
Flexibility is the culture maker. The anchor that represents that or shows that. And this is where I say it may just be semantics, but it's almost like cause and effect. It's like, oh man, PTO anchors our flexibility. So I say, I think you and I are saying the same thing, but I like, you should see some sort of causality. You should see some sort of relationship. Like, wow, how do we know, appreciation and celebration was one of ours. Okay. Well, how do we know that? Well, August retreat every year, we go way out of our way to appreciate people. It's a moment of rest. It's the one time of year where almost like we have a reset button coming out of a busy summer season that we say, okay, pause. We take people off of events. We almost force you to rest. We almost force you. It's like, nope, we want to appreciate you so much that we're going to make, even if something awesome, like we have an awesome opportunity. We've turned down really good financial opportunities. Or made it harder on ourselves because of this cultural anchor of August retreat. You have to be there. Or unless if you're having a baby or something like that, it's like you don't have to be there. But as far as work goes, it's like there is nothing more important in our work than this retreat. Yeah. And that's the anchor part.
Yeah. Yeah. To give another example too, if you're like really trying to think about it, so again, culture maker for us was celebration. One thing that I think anchors our team in that is the celebration of life. That somebody had said this yesterday, like, oh, we really celebrate like life transitions, changes, life events, married, had a baby, started dating someone. Gosh, our team celebrates that too.
Yes. Exactly.
Like anything that kind of is a life event, but I wouldn't say that's our culture maker. I would say that is derived from our culture of celebration.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
So
think
it
so
anchors that culture of celebration.
Yeah. I like that. That's it's interesting that you and I see the same thing, almost exactly like it's exactly the same relationship, but we see almost like the chronology different, which is totally fine.
Sure.
I mean, that's neither here nor there. That's completely fine. But the tandem of the two is why we have the three categories.
Yeah.
I added that category. We've done this workshop many, many times. I used to talk about culture makers and culture breakers. Which is helpful and healthy and important. But then we've added this culture anchor because it gives this new, almost like nuanced element that people, I have found the workshop to be more fruitful by having those three. Because then it also helps people. And if you're going to do this workshop, going to do this exercise, I would encourage you, think of those three as we wrap up here: culture makers, culture breakers, and culture anchors. Because having that three does help you think of this cause and effect. Or even the opposite. It could say then, okay, well, how are we not anchoring a positive trait and it's creating the negative trait, like in this culture. And that's if you have some of those negative things that are breaking your culture, that you feel like, oh, we are, it's causing division, this idea that we're separated. Like one of ours, to be completely honest, we're not just a Pollyanna over here with great culture everywhere. There's always going to be positives and negatives. That's the other thing. Let me give that as a disclaimer here. If you are a leader and you're serious about changing culture, improving culture, thinking about it, be prepared to hear the negative, but don't fixate on the negative. Be prepared to hear it. Because a lot of people say, like, I want to hear it all. I want to hear it all. Give me the negative stuff. But they really don't. You don't mean that, And I say that from a spirit of sympathy and empathy because I am the same way. And so I say, I want to know. It hurts my feelings. It frustrates me, but I want to know. And when you hear those negative things, I encourage you, there should be positive and negative. If you're not hearing positive and negative, it's because someone is not sharing the whole truth.
It's not honest feedback.
It's not honest feedback. And in the same way, though, it's not all going to be negative. Give yourself the opportunity to listen to the positive and go, you know what, that is good. So how can we build upon that? How can we create more anchors for the positive? And how can we overcome those negative things by creating the culture makers? You're never going to end a negative by saying, don't do that anymore. You're never going to end a negative by saying, for example, I started to share this. One of ours was a negative, a culture breaker is a lack of respect for positional authority. So it's interesting because we have worked hard over Paradigm Shift to talk about, we talk about not having positional leadership, and I was like, well, I'll do what you say because you're the boss. Okay. And so we want to be more holistic leaders. But kind of the other side of that then is, well, okay, so when we hire someone who's new, it's like, well, I don't really know you. I don't have reason to follow you as a leader. It's like, yeah, but their position has some authority. They're not your boss, but the HR director asked you to fill out the survey. That's positional authority. They're not your boss, but they're over this project and they need your input. And we have kind of a lack of respect for that, where it's not that people are overtly saying like, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't respect you. But it's like, hey, did you get that done? Well, no, I haven't gotten to it yet. It's very low on my priority list. I'm not, well, it's been like 3 weeks. Could you please fill out the survey? It's been a while. Could you please give us your answer? Could you please do this thing? But you don't overcome that by telling people, hey, don't do that anymore. Respect everyone. You overcome those things by creating culture makers. So instead of it saying like, okay, we want to, increase this positional respect, is you create a culture maker of clarity. Saying you can't just say, well, don't do that. It's clarity. Like, okay. And some of it, if you are out there as the authority, sometimes I have to say, or Anj has to say, or whomever the authority is to say, you know what? We need more clarity on my expectations. My expectations are prompt response. My clarity is whenever we have this as a team, this is how we expect people to respond. The clarity is, in other words, a culture maker. And there has not been, Anj says it all the time, that clarity is kindness. I've never worked with any group where they wanted less clarity. I've never worked with any group. So if you're doing this, as we summarize, as we end this thing, if you're looking to create culture and create a culture that lasts, which is why the Pixar Palooza is so fun, yes, but also we're going to learn a lot of lessons, not just from these movies, but what Pixar has done over the years to create this culture. This culture they're not perfect. My goodness, they got lots of faults. But when you think of Pixar, you think of excellence, and you think of innovation, and you think of ingenuity, and you think of creativity, and you think of all of those things. You also think of like, it is a destination. There is a great story there are numerous, but I've heard great stories of people who it's their dream job. And once they got there, it fulfilled it way beyond. And so if you're out there leading an organization of any kind, we want to do great things. We want to be good leaders, and creating culture is important. So there's a quick activity for the day. Culture makers, culture breakers, culture anchors. I hope it's helpful. Go out there, think about it for your team, for your organization, and be a good leader.